I made a game in Godot in 7 days. Well, there goes the deadline. In 2 weeks. This is the first game jam where I've participated solo and actually finished it. Being solo means I was in charge of basically all the art stuff, music, and stories? I'm not really great at any of them. I just go with the vibes. Code was cooked spaghetti. Still, I was able to produce something like this. The game takes inspiration from fishbowl vendors on the streets of the Philippines. You have to cook these balls, fish balls, by tossing them into a pan full of oil. Careful not to overcook it though. The first thing that I wanted to implement was this bouncy effect. I did that by creating this virtual position variable which stores an extra dimension for the z-axis. I add that z value from the virtual position into the sprite's y position. Instead of modifying the y value directly of the global position, I modified that z value from the virtual position instead. In retrospect, this was a really dumb idea, to create a virtual position when I just really need the z variable. So now, in my code, I'm having this code where I set the virtual position and then setting the global position. I don't even use the x and y of virtual position, but now I'm too lazy to refactor. I also implemented state machines but got lazy implementing them, so I just use callbles as my states. I created 3 states, one for falling, one for on the ground, and another for floating on the oil. With those in place, I was able to create the bouncing animation by just manipulating the z value. Next, I made the fishballs draggable. Use the area 2D, connect these 2 signals, tell the script if mouse is inside, if clicking, and then start dragging these balls. Also, add an offset to the z value, so it looks like it's being lifted. I used another area 2D for spawning in the balls. Now that we've got these balls under control, I did the same thing for the sauce and the cups. Now, I need to make the balls go into the cups. I made it so that when you drag a fishball to the cup, it's just going to increment the counter. I changed the sprite of the cup to showcase how full it is. But man, I had such a hard time trying to make this interaction work because it didn't work all the time for some reason. Eventually I did. Don't ask me how. I implemented the customers next by creating these points where they can move towards and order from. I made a total of 5 different types of customers, and they spawn at random intervals, ordering a random amount of fish balls and gulaman. Now the last thing to implement before the game could be playable was the scoring system. I surprisingly had some issues with scoring because of my spaghetti code. I had to ask for help from my friends to playtest the game and try to break it. They were hitting crazy scores. This was because I accidentally made penalties add to the score tremendously instead of subtracting, and it was also in several places. The last thing before submitting the game was using my girlfriend's art for the main menu, and then it was ready. Making this game really took me out of that mentality, where I had to make everything make sense in my head before even beginning to work on a project, then getting overwhelmed by all the possibilities that could go wrong if I don't start right. That perfectionist mindset held me back from growing as an indie game developer for quite a while. So this little game that I made is like a rejection of that mindset where I don't care about quality or good foundations. What's important is that I made something, and the process was fun. Sure, things could have been better. Maybe I could have made my state machine a bit more robust. Maybe I didn't need to use virtual position. Maybe I could have just used inheritance for my objects. But But I think over-focusing on trying to implement things the right way the first time will stifle the fun of creating. Just let things be for now and do it better next time. And that is how my first solo game jam went. Thank you everyone for watching my first video. Oh, I'm Torap by the way. Subscribe or something, I guess. Bye!